strategic plan. So we called in a few consultants, and they made their proposals, and I think this is back in 1989. The lowest figure we received was $15,000 to guide us through this plan. Well, we were already broke, so we didn't have $15,000 to spend on someone to help us through the plan. So one of the board members turned around and said to me, "Jim, you can do this. You can lead us through this strategic planning process." And I ended up, it was the board. They, I was the young head of school. I needed to step forward and, go for it. But I left that night, driving on the way home, and thinking to myself, you don't know anything about strategic planning. Absolutely nothing. I didn't go to school and learn how to be a strategic planner. I went to college to be a teacher and a coach. And I spent my, early years doing just that, teaching and coaching football and loving it. And then God pushed me into administration, and here I was in St. Louis in 1985, and now all of a sudden I needed to be a strategic planner. So I called a couple of colleagues, and I bought a book. And like teachers do sometimes, I read a chapter, and then we had a meeting. And I read chapter 2, and then we had a meeting. And slowly on, we built a plan together by the grace of God. But I remember so clearly, one of the goals in that strategic plan was to become financially secure. And one of the strategies for doing that was to move our school from covering 60% of our operations budget with tuition and fees to 90%. Then we felt that would be helpful. However, getting from 60 to 90, that's hard to do, especially in a year's time. It's impossible to do because we already determined that we can't raise any more money, and the only other way is through tuition increases. That wasn't going to work. So we, in that strategic planning process, and around tables like this, but then we had a committee on financial sustainability and viability, and they came up with this goal of reaching 90%. But then they started breaking it down into strategies, and one of them was we're going to take this one bite at a time. So our goal for next year is 70%, 80%, and over the life of that strategic plan, get to 90%. And that, when you're looking at a 10%, jump, oh yeah, you can bring in tuition and cost cutting and rent the facility and, hopefully grow a little bit and put all those things together and build a strategy for how to just get from 60% to 70%. And then be able to celebrate that at the end of the year. Well, in a period of 4 years, we moved from 60% to 90%. And we have been there ever since. But it was a strategic planning process. And gathering a committee of smart people, dedicated people, creative people who came up with ideas that would, and then could celebrate together too in helping to achieve those objectives. It had moved us forward as a school. And I was sold at that point that strategic planning does work. And we have been doing it ever since. I've been through I was at Westminster for 28 years, so we went through 5 cycles of strategic planning. Every 3 to 5 years we would, revise and go through the process again. And God used it to help our school grow and mature and become what it is today in an amazing way. But Karen doesn't need the book. Karen is really good at this already. And you have board members and other leaders who can lead you through this process in a tremendous and successful way. So I look forward to seeing what he does with it. But let's just step back and just kind of think about the big picture. We're all consumed as parents, as teachers, administrators, board members, with the day-to-day, what's happening at Turlock Christian School today. There are some in this room, especially teachers and administrators, are thinking about what they have to do tomorrow. And they're thinking, what in the world am I sitting here for today when I've got all this work to do? Talking about the next 3 to 5 years. I've got papers to grade for tomorrow. So I understand all that because again, I came up as a teacher and a coach. I've been in your shoes. But I just for, the next few minutes, this time that we have shared today, for all of you who are leaders in your school community, to step back and think about what your dreams are for Turlock Christian School in the future, what you would like it to be. And just kind of work together or think together as we go through that process. What we are facing and what strategic planning has to be able to respond to, and why a roadmap for your school is so important. First of all, really what strategic planning is all about is change. It's getting from where you are to where you believe God would have you to be. It's about change, and we all know that change is hard. We all kind of react to change with a little bit of resistance. I love this quote by John Cotter. Leaders don't make plans, they don't solve problems, they don't even organize people. What leaders really do is prepare organizations for change and help them cope as they struggle through it. I think he overstates the first sentence just a bit. Leaders do make plans and they solve problems and they organize people, but his point is so true. Leaders, people who have the courage, the wisdom, the vision, the faith to be able to see the future and guide people along toward that future, that's the real, I think test of leadership. It's about change. It's helping a community, a school, a team, whatever, change in a positive direction. And we live in a world of change. We know that. This is a video that I'd like to show. Just kind of, it reinforces the fact that the world we live in, and the world our kids live in, and the world their kids will live in, is changing at warp speed. Hopefully this. Here we go.